Hello and welcome to Dukas Copy TV. I'm Andrew SAKS-MCLEOD from LeapRate, and this is the Forex Industry Talk Show with Luis Sanchez, CEO of BMFN. Hi, Luis.
Hi, Andrew.
Borden James, Managing Partner and Director of BMFN. Hi, Borden. Nice to see you.
Hello.
Hi, Patrick. Nice to see you.
Hi, Andrew. Good to see you.
Thank you. Today we're going to talk about introducing brokers and the technology used.
That's a very, interesting discussion. Today, there's no science. Everybody, every broker out there has introducing brokers.
Everybody.
Some of them even to an extent that is the majority of their business.
Yes.
And even startup brokers, when they were looking how to enter in this terrain. New markets, when you go, for example, in Latin America, this terminology is starting to be more known, and you started to understand a little bit more the IBs. But the question here is, what to give to them? What is the IB looking? What does he want? What does he needs? So we, believe that the IB actually wants to help their clients, wants to do the business, but there's a big gap between wanting and understanding. Let me make you an example. You make a meeting, you invite a lot of people who are possible potential IBs, you make a whole speech, you tell them what it is, they listen to you, you give them brochures, you give them the whole information, they go home, and guess what? They don't understand anything. And that is the complete problem. And that's why, brokers should focus more on explaining and with technology behind.
Right. What about the cost of developing a technology solution like that is purely designed for IBs? You develop something which can give the IB almost a brokerage in his own right, because he is an introducing broker. He's not just an affiliate. So you should have a relationship. He will then maintain all the relationship with the customers, not just about the old system of where you used to go and get
reporting,
a platform with a CRM, and that's it. But if you give something like a whole marketing channel, a whole brand in their own right, and things like that, rather like you do with UniTrader.
Exactly.
What you can get is something like an investment in that kind of technology once, and then you're removing all the costs of operating that within your own company itself, right?
Correct.
The IB business, introducing broker business is very important. We definitely consider it as an indirect sales channel.
Yes.
The importance of the IBs was actually one of the reasons we built UniTrader in the way we have it today. So an IB can very simple start his business, as you just said, branded.
That's very important.
Yeah, that is very important.
So, because the fear of an IB is always the same. They don't want to lose the client. Yeah. So the IB understands or thinks in the first place that my biggest competitor is actually my broker.
Correct.
Yes.
Which is not true, because we actually want to support the IB because the business is good. It's a long-term partnership.
Yeah, that's right.
You've got to get the cost of the white label environment down, and that's sort of what that platform does.
Absolutely.
So, and make it a seamless environment for the IB to sign up.
Yeah.
You've got to wrap your compliance and AML routine around that.
Correct.
So it's very tech intensive.
Yeah. Another point I believe is very important is what Luis just started to cut in. There are IBs and IBs. Some of them, they're just interested in getting a quick business done. Yeah. And some of them, they really want to set up something. And they really want to help and educate their clients.
Right.
So
you've got to give them the tools to do that.
Exactly. So this needs to be considered as well. And the IBs nowadays, they're looking much more. Let's go a couple of years back. An IB was interested in one sole thing, the spread and the rebating and the revenue share.
And his reporting.
Exactly.
Just to introduce the clients and that's it.
Exactly. And today, the IBs are very picky because they say they want to have a licensed broker, they want to have the support.
Educational videos.
Exactly.
I want a web page.
I want a web
That's
page.
the last one.
Exactly.
I want to be able to edit my web page whenever I want, so I can change my contact details, I can put a new product coming, or let's say
update
a
content.
new feature of the broker. In this case, he wants to be updated. So it comes to the level of sophistication. It's not like you're saying, do the technology and invest. Who has invested in this? We did it.
Well, that's the thing. It comes down to the same problem as why companies who are doing digital marketing to get the end users and getting an ineffective result, but still outlaying the money. Think about this. If that appears old-fashioned for such a technologically forward-thinking industry, so does keeping IBs on a very labour-intensive, having to have lots of partners, managers, having to have them not autonomous. They are effectively self-employed, but they're reliant on dealing with support all the time. It's a bit expensive. It's an ongoing process. You don't just hand the business over and then let them get on with it, which is really the whole purpose of an IB in the first place.
Correct.
So the
You would
thing is
like
that
them to do that,
you
but
would,
you
but
have
the problem
to
is that
support them.
companies, I think, this is just my opinion, of course, but I think they are afraid. The marketing manager is afraid of being the person who breaks away from the traditional, tried and tested but less effective method. And if they're the innovative one, there's a phrase, isn't there? The man who holds the red flag is the one who gets shot first.
Yeah.
So, if it doesn't work out, the company will look, rather than figure out the solution, they'll look for someone to blame because it's a very quick-moving industry and they need to onboard client. And they'll say, you did that, you're fired. Yeah. So they don't take the risk. That's what I think.
And and another thing, speaking about risk, I mean, there comes also what Patrick mentioned last week and the previous. What about more than regulatory issues? I mean,
Absolutely.
now
You have to wrap your application process
And I think that is
in
one
a
of the
regulatory
biggest,
environment.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest
barrier.
risks with IBs, that most of the IBs, they want to be the broker, and they would, if they could, they would even say, give me a business card.
Yes.
But this is a very fine line we have to follow, that we also need to make sure that the IB is not talking something we don't like, or which might be, or put us in a risky position. So
Right.
that
you need to monitor what they're
You want to
telling.
control their environment.
Yes, what is on the webpage,
Yeah.
I mean, what
But
kind of promotion they're
I'm not
doing.
sure companies think that through very clearly. They think about the revenue share.
Maybe they think
do after they
after
get
they
in
had a
trouble.
They
problem.
do,
Yeah,
they
right.
do, they do.
Yeah.
And I'll bring up an example of that. They are concerned about the revenue share because they're always, usually IBs are brought in regions which are far from the brokerage because they want to reach those clients.
Right.
So they spend their time arguing about the revenue share and about what the terms of payment will be and things like that, not this. Now, yesterday in the United States, the NFA filed a complaint about, did you see that? About this, he wasn't even an IB, he was actually an NFA associate who was giving business to an IB, GFET. It's a very big IB in America, but GFET got put under a scrutiny program by the NFA because they were doing that. They were having associate IBs who had a bit of a not very good past, and as a result, the NFA made them put down much more net capital, 250,000 net capital, and made them have all their phone calls recorded and play them back to the NFA. So they caught this guy soliciting business from a 19-year-old child, if you want to say so. You know,
About the wealthy and the fortune, no?
Yeah, and he said he went through his assets. He said he's got something like $25,000 worth of assets. When they actually investigated him, the guy was insolvent and had no
negative, I think so.
negative.
Yeah.
And he had lots of negative equity on all his assets, and they were counting all sorts of strange things like a depreciating car with a load of outstanding finance on it as an asset.
So considering regulatory environment, I mean, it is as important as it is
but
the
who's
technology.
in trouble now? He is, and so is the IB company that he's
Exactly.
referring business to.
Well,
You have to control that environment.
Yeah.
Australia is another example of that, where you have corporate authorized reps underneath you, and they're sort of super IB in many ways.
Yeah.
And but you have to monitor what they're doing.
You do, yes.
Go to their offices.
Well, just
check the content.
Last week, it was an announcement by the FCA regarding the new regulation, which requires IB to be licensed and registered as well.
Yes.
So this is the whole IB world, and particularly in the regulated markets like Europe, will change significantly because they have to follow the requirements and they have to be registered and licensed to be IB because they're selling again a financial product.
Yes.
So,
But that is
Which
good.
is a progress.
That's good.
That's, yeah,
Because
good.
the
I
IB
appreciate
now
that.
will be more sophisticated. They will dedicate it
Correct.
actually like a profession and not just simple, I have
Right.
two friends and I am so-called IB.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's going to generate a whole industry
It will also keep
behind.
the cost down because it will allow companies who want to take it further and outsource the whole lot to an IB to do so without worrying, because that IB is now responsible.
Yeah.
They can't turn around and say, oh, the compliance officer is coming to see me from the regulator. It was actually them. I
Yeah.
nothing.
Because
Can't
at
do
the
that.
It gives you a
Yeah.
defined IB
Yeah.
pool
Yes,
also.
absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, the client can always go and complain to the broker.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
and that was certainly one of the biggest risks by having IBs.
That makes perfect sense. So that's another very interesting matter that we'll certainly follow up, and we'll certainly talk at length about this at another time.
Definitely.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you,
Thank you
Andrew.
for having us.
My pleasure. I'm Andrew SAKS-MCLEOD from LeapRate. This is Dukas Copy TV. You've been watching the Forex Industry Talk Show. See you next week. Goodbye.